Hello everyone, it's going to be Line back to you with another video. This video pertains to Breonna Taylor and Tyre Nichols' heavenly birthday, as they would have turned 32 today. Before I begin, I would like to extend my continued support and condolences to the families as you are grieving the loss of your loved ones. It has been confirmed that the current administration's DOJ has halted police reform deals in multiple cities. I would like to read a partial statement of Breonna Taylor and Tyre Nichols' attorney, Ben Crump. Attorney Crump stated in part, "The decision is a slap in the face of the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Tyre Nichols, and to every community that has endured the trauma of the police violence and false promises of accountability. These consent decrees and investigations were not symbolic gestures. They were lifelines for communities crying out for change rooted in years of organizing, suffering, and advocacy." The Trump administration is ending efforts to secure agreements for federal oversight of police departments in Minneapolis and Louisville. Despite a prior government finding they routinely violated the civil rights of Black people. In a major rollback of federal civil rights investigations, the Justice Department stated on May 21st, 2025, it was also ending investigations and rescinding findings of misconduct into 6 other police departments, deeming the probes many launched following a 2020 wave of world protests over racial justice as overreaching. George Floyd's killing, as well as the killing of Breonna Taylor, sparked worldwide protests about racially motivated policing practices during the final year of Donald Trump's first term in office. The mayors of Minneapolis and Louisville both stated they would continue to implement reforms mandated in the federal agreements despite the Justice Department's action. Minneapolis opposed the Trump administration's move in court, saying it would impede the city's progress on policing. Neither Trump nor anyone in Washington, D.C. can stop us from doing this work that we are indeed committed to do, according to Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. The department will be closing out investigations and retracting prior findings of wrongdoing against police departments in Phoenix, Arizona, Memphis, Tennessee, Trenton, New Jersey, Mount Vernon, New York, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and the Louisiana State Police. Louisville Mayor Craig Greenberg stated that the city would hire its own independent monitor to assess the police department's progress, setting aside an estimated $750,000 in the city's budget. The goals for reform and the objectives for improvement are exactly the same as they were. It will just be a different process. Minneapolis has also separately entered a similar type of settlement with the state of Minnesota to reform its police practices. That agreement, which includes many but not all of the reforms mandated in the federal agreement, will remain in effect. Frey stated, the same monitor overseeing Minneapolis compliance with the state agreement would also ensure the city followed on reforms the Justice Department had sought. Both reform agreements mandated large-scale changes to police training, use of force policies, and internal discipline. Congress authorized the Justice Department to conduct civil investigations into constitutional abuses by police, such as excessive use of force or racially motivated policing. In 1994, as a response to the beating of Rodney King, a black man who was attacked by white LAPD officers. During the Biden-Harris administration, the Civil Rights Division launched 12 such pattern or practice investigations into police departments. The Trump administration has steered the Civil Rights Division away from pursuing cases to protect the country's vulnerable and historically disenfranchised populations and toward conservative causes. Since Trump returned to power in January, the Civil Rights Division has lost more than 200 attorneys. As the DOJ abandons its duty for police reform, there has been new developments in the Breonna Taylor and Tyre Nichols cases. As it pertains to Breonna Taylor, the former Louisville Metro PD officer who pled guilty in the Breonna Taylor case for one count of conspiracy, Kelly Goodlett, will not be sentenced until next year. Kelly Goodlett pled guilty after she admitted she aided former LMPD Joshua James and Kyle Meany in obtaining a warrant for Breonna Taylor's home, despite knowing they lacked probable cause. Though Kelly Goodlett was scheduled for sentencing this year, her sentencing has been delayed until February 2026. Other former officers, Joshua James and Kyle Meany, are accused of falsifying the affidavit to obtain the search warrant. When the no-knock warrant was executed at Breonna Taylor's apartment on March 13, 2020, officers were met with gunfire by her partner, Kenneth Walker. Former LMPD officers Miles Cosgrove and Brent Hankerson fired shots back. It was later determined that Miles Cosgrove fired the shot that unalived Breonna Taylor during the botched raid, though he was not charged with the unaliving of Breonna Taylor. Brett Hankinson, who fired 10 shots into Breonna Taylor's apartment during the raid, was convicted of violating her civil rights. His sentencing is set for next month. As it pertains to The state verdict against the three former Memphis police officers in the fatal unaliving of Tyre Nichols. A Tennessee jury has cleared the three former Memphis officers on May 7th, 2025, of all state charges in the fatal unaliving of Tyre Nichols back in 2023. To Darius Bean, Demetrius Haley, and Justin Smith were found not guilty of second-degree homicide, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping with a deadly weapon, official misconduct, unauthorized authority, official oppression, among other charges in the unaliving of Tyre Nichols. Shelby County Criminal Court Judge James Jones Jr. ordered the men released immediately, though the defendants are still on the hook for federal convictions connected to the fatal beating homicide. The three officers cleared on May 7th, 2025, and one-time colleagues Desmond Miles Jr. and Emmett Martin are set to be sentenced in federal court during the week of June 16th. While we have made some strides since the unfortunate unalivings of Breonna Taylor and Tyre Nichols, the new administration has made it its duty to deny not only these victims, but others known and unknown. For every recorded unaliving of a black person on camera by an officer who swore to protect and serve, how many more are being unalived when the camera and body cameras are not recording? We are literally in a state of an emergency. You see, persons were playing a dangerous game last year when it was time to vote. The current administration made it very clear that they were going to side with officers regardless of what occurred. We need oversight for when unfortunate events happen, we can learn and move forward. There are too many bodies that have been taken out by officers who swore to protect and serve. When are we going to be honest about the biases against black people within this nation? And when are we going to do our due diligence of holding these officers accountable? There was literally a national database that tracked misconduct of federal officers with misconduct records from being able to move undetected between agencies. The National Law Enforcement Accountability Database, which stored police records documented misconduct, is now unavailable. The U.S. Justice Department also confirmed the database elimination in a statement issued online. User agencies can no longer query or add data to the National Law Enforcement Accountability Database. The DOJ is now decommissioning the National Law Enforcement Accountability Data accordance with federal standards. A web link that hosted the database is no longer active. The Police Misconduct Database, the first of its kind, was not publicly available. Law enforcement's agencies could use the National Law Enforcement Accountability to check if an officer applying for law enforcement position had committed misconduct such as excessive force. Today, Breonna Taylor and Tyre Nichols should be celebrating their birthdays. Instead, their families are continuing the grieving process and constantly being re-traumatized by the system not doing its job. So many families, known and unknown, are suffering due to the fact that officers who swore to protect and serve are not doing their jobs. It should be noted that Breonna Taylor and Tyre Nichols was someone's child. It should be noted that they had their own paths of being great. Now we will never know what could have been. And so many persons' lives who have been cut short due to violence by officers who swore to protect and serve. We should not be silent. We should continuously advocate for those who are no longer here. We should continuously support those families who need our support and be mindful of the misinformation, disinformation, aka lying within these investigations, as it does harm the family and the loved ones. And be mindful of persons who are making profit off of these victims who are no longer here by tainting their legacy, by adding to the chaos of lying, spreading misinformation, disinformation, all for a dollar bill. Today we are celebrating the heavenly birthdays of Breonna Taylor and Tyre Nichols. As I close this video, I pray that the families of Breonna Taylor and Tyre Nichols and other victims who have lost their lives due to violence by persons who swore to protect and serve, and persons adjacent to those agencies and systems who swore to protect and serve in their communities. I pray for healing. I pray for justice. Justice delayed is justice denied. Say their names, known and unknown. Happily heavenly birthday to Breonna Taylor and Tyre Nichols. Justice for Tyre Nichols and justice for Breonna Taylor. Wake up, America. And as always, please be safe out here, and I will see you in the next video.